is somebody sent me a code for what's called the Soulframe Preludes, which is a fancy way of saying the alpha version of Soulframe. So Soulframe is Digital Extremes is not Warframe incoming, action game, not quite MMO thing that is medieval and fantasy instead of sci-fi.
Okay. I was in fact going to, so on the docket is the Warframe dev stream and some of that stuff. Was this included in those announcements?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't even know that happened. So any of that stuff that's in there, would be new to me.
Okay.
I just happened to get sent a code. The game's been available to stream for about 30 days, but I didn't have access. It's like invite only kind of thing. But eventually you get your own invite to send out to somebody.
Did you play what they showed at TennoCon?
No, I don't know. I didn't. I've been off. I have been off the Digital Extremes wagon.
Gotcha. Okay.
For years now, since 21, I've been out.
Okay.
So, but I did play 1 million hours of Warframe back in the day, so it's a good starting point for comparison for Soulframe. And what they're doing with Soulframe is really smart. So, Warframe is a third-person shooter where you have a button for melee, and you have a bunch of magic abilities. You're 1, 2, 3, 4, like it's a MOBA. And you're going out there and you're grinding and you're running missions and you're doing shooter missions. Soulframe is exactly the same game in reverse. So in Warframe, where most of your buttons are for shooting and you have a melee button, in Soulframe, most of your buttons are for melee and you have a shooting button.
Okay.
So in Warframe, you have slide, aim, shoot, etc. and your powers, right? In Soulframe, you have light attack, heavy attack, block / parry, and then the left trigger is for all of your abilities, which does include firing a little bit of lightning out of your hands, kind of like a gun. But like the focus is completely inverted from guns to melee.
Also, I remember what we saw of it, and what I'm kind of looking at. It's like not much grunts that you're dealing with either. It seems like it's very like one-on-one.
No, you're dealing with way less enemies, but they're much stronger.
A lot of duels.
Yeah, a lot of like there's 3 guys.
Mini
very
boss
much more like
type
Souls,
thing.
like.
Yeah. Okay.
And like melee bosses and whatnot. And in its general like structure, however, it's actually incredibly similar to Warframe. So like in Warframe, between missions, you go to the Orbiter, which is your little spaceship that would fly in orbit. In Soulframe, you hit the select button and your character teleports into, I don't know what the fuck to call it. I forget the name of it, but like a mind palace that has your upgrade stall and your character that builds your gear and shit like that. And when you earn a new blueprint and get the items to build gear, it can take 8 to 12 hours in real human time.
Oh shit. Okay.
To build it.
Okay.
Because you're going to build it and then you're going to go back out there and you're going to grind and etc. And I remember it's like the starting area is like a fairly large open area, like a field, like a medieval type of village area. And I was like, I wonder how they're going to do Warframe style content. Like, like a defense mission or a assassination mission, the types of missions that you would fly the Orbiter on. And then my little bird waypoint brought me to the door to an underground labyrinth. And then when I went into the underground labyrinth, I discovered that the underground labyrinth was completely disconnected from the overworld's internalized geography and was in fact a very complex tile set that was randomized. And that is how that you'll be physically traveling to little dungeon areas that will have your randomized tile sets for your Warframe style missions.
Are you online while you're playing this? Okay. Are there online features that are occurring?
I don't know. The version that I'm playing is very early. Very early. I do know that in the bottom left corner, it says recruiting on a little window. So that means it will be multiplayer. And that there will be a chat. But the version that I'm playing is very early, in very early access.
Okay. Because real world hour timers, like for online, I guess that's how those things go. For single player offline, what the fuck are we doing? Right.
You know, I was actually thinking about the timers, and I remembered that I was thinking a lot about them and how people hate them so much in Warframe. It's a retention mechanic, obviously. It's I'll build this. That means I'll log back in a couple days, right?
Yeah, it's mobile games with their daily usage batteries or whatever.
And it's not about dailies. It's just about come back and play again later. And I realized that like when I was playing Warframe a lot, you only interact with the timers once, ever, in the entire time you play Warframe, and that's the first time you turn them on, because the second time you go to turn on your timers, you're picking up the shit that you set up last time.
Here's an important question. Will this game be free?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. If I see a timer in a game that I've bought,
to Warframe,
I'm going to lose my shit. Yeah. Okay.
I would say that this is much more appealing to people like you who are way more into melee combat than super fast run and gun combat. But it is a frame game. Like, it's not called Soul Fighter or whatever the fuck. It's called Soul Frame. And it's very interesting because I was really impressed, and it feels really good. And it has that really... So you've seen Warframe enough to be like, it has a really weird technology look. Like, it's very strange and... like Siberian, like indigenous, like technological,
just in like art style inspiration.
Yeah, like Warframe's technology just looks like kind of nonsensical and biological. It looks super weird.
Okay.
And Soulframe's fantasy setting is the same exact aesthetic, but inverted, where it's not it's not technological with weird biological fantasy elements. It's fantasy biological stuff with weird technological elements.
And the proportions are
like
in
the accent is
it's
different.
the slight tech accent as opposed to the slight organic accent. Yeah.
So like instead of a robot that has like a weird stag head on it, it's a weird deformed stag that has like a little robot
part. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And it's really interesting because it's like it's really, really, really obviously Warframe's sister game or cousin, and it looks very similar despite being in the opposite setting. It's super interesting. And
Warhammer versus 40K.
It's super weird. What's that?
Someone said Warhammer versus 40K.
Yeah, it's inverted in the way that Warhammer and Warhammer 40K are inverted.
But you're hitting the similar notes. Yeah, cool. Okay.
And this had me into the strange situation where, have you ever been in the situation where someone says every single right answer to your question that gets you to rethink something, where like you're like, I don't know, and then you ask the 5 questions that all need to be answered correctly, and all 5 are answered correctly?
Does it have
So I go, well, Steve's on this. That'd be Steve Sinclair over at Digital Extremes. Soulframe is his new baby, right? He's off Warframe because Rebecca Ford, Space Mom, and wonderful lady and fantastic Dio cosplayer is now head of Warframe, being promoted up from community manager. And I'm like, awesome. So this is Steve's baby. So how's Rebecca been doing with Warframe? Because the people watching my Soulframe chat are going to tend to be people that know what the fuck they're talking about with Warframe. To which they respond, oh, it's great. It's better than it's ever been, which is always fun because when you ask people about Destiny, you get one guy going, Destiny's going great, and then you have like 20 guys going, no, it's not. It's actually shit. But I asked, like, how's Warframe doing under Rebecca? And, oh, it's doing great. What's changed? Oh, they toned down this thing that you hate, and they improved the thing that you like. Like, okay, well, that is a good answer. And I go, well, Inaros was my favorite frame that ever happened. Did they ever make Inaros Prime? Well, Pat, not only did they make Inaros Prime, but they gave him a full-scale rework, and he's better than he's ever been, and he's more fun, too. I go, oh, okay, that's pretty good. And then someone said, yeah, Rebecca and Pablo have been doing really well. I go, why are you talking about Pablo? Because if you're not familiar, Pablo is a guy who would do reworks on some of the Warframes every now and then. And he would be of note because you wanted Pablo to be the guy who reworked your frame.
Oh, the reworks Pablo had specific names attached that people knew? Really?
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God, I didn't know it went in like that.
Like, can you imagine if it was like, well, that was Mr. Takumi-san was the person who balanced Bison.
Oh, fuck.
This time around.
Oh, fuck.
Right?
Yeah, we're getting into this Gundam redesign was done by Hajime Katoki, so we got the version Ka. Yes, the specific okay. Right.
So they're like, well, Pablo's doing real well. I'm like, well, what did, and they're like, well, Pablo did an Arsa's rework. I'm like, oh, really? It's like, well, Pablo's like the head gameplay man now because Steve's gone. So Pablo's running all of that shit under Rebecca. And I'm like, but Pablo was the best one. He always did the best reworks. And then at the end of all that, I'm like, maybe I should go check on my Warframe account.
Mm-hmm.
And so I logged in on the Warframe. And the very first thing that happened, like clockwork, everyone that has ever gone away from that game
how
for any
much?
Length of time,
how much did you get? How much did you get?
75% off flat coupon shows up.
He's back!
Every time.
Initiate.
It is guaranteed.
All the discounts. Initiate everything. Give him all the feelings.
I saw people talking about the way that seems to happen is that your daily login bonuses will rotate when you're not logging in, and it will save the highest value one.
Oh my God.
So if you were gone like I was for 3 years, I was actually kind of guaranteed to come back to that. And it's a great incentive to be like, look at all this free money. Well, jokes on Digital Extremes, because I actually still had so much free money left over from the last time I played Warframe that it would be totally pointless to buy it now.
Yeah, but that's
so Inaros Prime is currently gestating in my orbiter's womb.
But it's not,
and they will be done in 68 hours.
It's not that it's free money; it's that the money you don't spend is being wasted for the bonus that you should be getting.
Yeah, that's right. So Inaros Prime is cooking. They got a bun in the oven, and so we'll see how that goes. I'm interested in seeing the 3 years of features from a live service game and what it's like to catch up on that. And what's strange is, like, I'm not playing FF14 at all anymore. Like, I've completely quit entirely.
Well, until they drop new shit.
No, the 7.1 came and went. Didn't even bother to log in.
That happened quietly.
Yeah, I talked about it on my stream, but I was not super happy with the way the Dawn Trail stuff was going. But the future of Dawn Trail, But the number one thing, and this cannot be overstated, that there's one thing that Warframe has, and Soulframe, by that measure, have over Final Fantasy XIV that cannot be beat. And that is the ability to pause the game when the baby gets a hold of the remote or tries to run away and get into some shit. The ability to pause your video game becomes the single most defining characteristic of playing a game when there is a baby. Because the baby's playing with his toys, and you play your baby toy for your grown-up toy, and then the baby starts to crawl away, and you're like, well, I need to go chase that now.
So I thought it was a more online game that was like persistently online enough that you wouldn't be able to.
So Warframe, if you start a mission in a private lobby by yourself, just pauses the game.
You're instanced alone, so why not? Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And that alone, I mean, is the difference between, oh yeah, I'll blow a bunch of time on this and not. Because if baby, I have a climber.
Yeah. So I was curious.
I can't be like, hold on, baby. There's 6 minutes left of this EX roulette.
Well, so I was wondering if like the FF14 thing was like how much one baby affects that, right? And second, I also know that like they just started a new story after a real long closing arc of that last one, and I was wondering if you kind of felt like that was a good exit point. You know,
I was, but it was this thing where what I would describe as my so there's I'm a dad now, and I love hanging out with my little guy, and if he looks at the TV too closely, I turn whatever I'm playing off because I don't want to fry his brain with screen time and all that shit. Like, no iPad for this child. No, don't do it. So my only quote unquote unmolested screen time for dad is from 10:30 p.m. to midnight, right? Because that's when baby is asleep, and it's not up too late before I go to bed because I need to get up at 8 because the baby gets up at 8, right? And for FF14, I was like running roulettes at fucking 11 o'clock at night, and for a class I don't plan on playing just so I could level up all my characters. And I was like, what the fuck am I fucking I get like an hour a day of not having to worry about baby eating a piece of wood he found on the ground.
Sure.
To do this. And I'm blowing it, fucking leveling up fucking tanks I'm not gonna play. What the fuck am I doing? It's fucking stupid as shit.
Okay. Well, there's that, and then as you just established, there's also, well, you got to let that account cool down for a little bit so that when you eventually do come back, you get these fucking sick bonuses all stacked up and ready to.
14 doesn't do that. 14 doesn't.
Oh, they don't do incentives. They don't do a welcome back.
No, they don't do incentives. What they do is catch up.
The first hit is free.
No. What 14 does is catch up. Is that like if you want to grind your character out to max power in the current patch, it'll take you the whole patch. But reaching that exact same level of character power 2 patches later will take 1/100th of the time. So you can catch up to the current patch.
Gotcha.
And when the next expansion comes out, getting ready for the next expansion will take, nth amount of time, etc.
Susie says having kids cures you of FF14. It's you see, now you have to dodge the danger patterns in real life by moving the kid out of the way of the burning spells that are flying
here's a really good example.
In lines across the ground.
When Baby Man started to move around more, when he went from being potato to slow moving potato, then and there I stopped playing nearly as much FF14 and started playing Street Fighter way more often because I can just get the fuck
easier
up and walk
and
away from Street Fighter and be like, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose a match? Who gives a shit?
Less committal in and out, for sure.
Which led to really strange matchmaking situations where I like got all the way down to like fucking 800 MR, and then I'm being, geared up. I'm being matched up with people with 900 MR, and I'm like, bro, when I'm not walking away from matches for full rounds, I'm gonna stomp your ass.
But yeah, well, bad news for that with the new patch that just happened, because the disconnect messages are now saying that if you disconnect too many times, you're going to be placed in basically rage quit jail, it sounds like.
Oh, I don't disconnect, man.
Oh, you idle out.
Yeah, walk away.
Okay. Excuse me.
And
right.
And the guy on the other end gets a free win.
Right. Okay.
Like, we're in the middle of a pitched round 2, and I'm like, well, gotta go. I don't know what he's got. What is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? Put that down. What is that? What is that? Oh, it's a granola bar. Okay. You're supposed to have that. Okay. I've lost the round.
Okay. Hold start to press the baby currently needs attention.
Yeah.
Like taunt.
But yeah, Warframe on the flip side, I can just pause.
That's good.
And it has the same dopamine release of grind that I so desire. The Assault Frame looks really good, and to a lot of people, it's going to be very appealing to start a frame game at the goddamn beginning of it. Because Warframe lived in this weird place where it was fucking terrible for like a year and a half, 2 years. And then all of a sudden it got really good. But by the time it got really good, it had already built up just like a shit ton of stuff. So like it was this massive, super complicated game that just seemed to come out of nowhere. Whereas Soulframe, it's like it's already in a way, way, way better state than launch Warframe was. Launch Warframe was like shit. I played Warframe at launch. It sucked.
With Warframe also, can you play it in like? I mean, I know that like, there's kind of those daily interactions in little bits, but can you do it in small chunks as well?
Oh yeah, you can play Warframe in fucking 4-minute chunks.
Okay.
If you want.
I mean, this is literally what I was just saying about Breach Wizards and XCOM and stuff. Like, my life is already in a place where I'm always more always have a preference towards the low commitment activity. You know, like anything that is that's an hour and a half long like dungeon commitment of an action nature, that it's not something I can just at least pause or take time or turns with or so. It just I have to clear out a moment to sit down and lock in for that, and I just don't do that.
Depending on your progression in Warframe, you can run you can run a mission that will last you 45 seconds. If it's an assassination mission, so it's literally like a bullet jump to the target, shoot them until they're dead, and then sprint as hard as you can to the exit, all the way up until I bet you I could do an hour of survival waves on this map, and get a bunch of good rewards if I feel up to it.
And it's your prerogative, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And I can do either of those with people I actually partied with, auto party, solo, any particular combination of those.
Well, I mean, if you forgive me for being somewhat shocked, but I guess it's like, yeah, 14 never really had a reason to have an explosive, it's all over kind of moment. It was always a well-made, addictive thing that ever since, I guess, the Reborn, patch, was just going to be you fade off whenever you want to. But
so they've built the game like that, and they have been incredibly clear in every interview. They're like, hey, you don't enjoy it, just leave, and then if you feel like it, come back, and there'll be more stuff later. Which I think is really endearing, and I think important to that kind of thing, because like, well, if you don't keep up every single fucking day, you're gonna fall way behind. Like, fuck off. I hate that. Everybody hates that. No one likes that. But like,
but you've been playing for...
I've been playing since 2015.
Yeah. Okay.
14.
Yeah. That's...
And Final Fantasy 14. So different people are affected by this at different levels, and some people like it, and a lot of people don't like it. FF14 does have one extraordinary problem that I can't think of anybody else that does, where they are really consistent about the quality of their content. And you would think, what is the problem with that? And you don't know what type of consistency I'm talking about. For 11 years now, you can get together with your friends and you can predict the date of the patch down to the weekend. And you could say it's going to have this many bosses. It's going to have this type of new area. It's going to have this raid. The item levels for the raid are going to be this. It's going to have this many floors. It's going to have this. And you could theory craft that shit out for like 2 years in advance, and you would be right on almost all of it.
And that's comforting. And that's comforting to some people.
Yeah, you're going to grind out 450 tomes of the expensive tome a week. You're going to grind out 2,000 tomes of the least expensive tomes a week. You're going to have this. You're going to run this many roulettes. They're going to be cost this. It has been literally unchanged for the entirety of A Realm Reborn
because it worked. Yeah.
And it works. And they have like a pipeline that is rock solid.
Gotcha.
But it means that when you start to like fade off, I'm like, well, I know exactly what is coming over the next year, almost down to the day. And I'm like, and then I can look back at the years that I played the game and go, well, I know exactly the time and shit that I'm going to do in the future if I continue to do so. And right now, it's just not super appealing. 14 has a problem that almost all MMOs or live service or ongoing games have, which is it is more fun to catch up than it is to be on the edge. It is more fun to have the whole game out in front of you than it is to have done everything and be sitting around waiting for the new thing to come out.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
Like way more.
Okay. Well,
way more
Well,
fun.
because I guess that resembles playing a regular offline RPG more, right? In a way, as opposed to like being stuck with the real calendar and whatever's going on. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Hey man, are you having more fun with One Piece at volume 5 and you look at the 400 volumes to go, or are you having more fun with One Piece hoping to get to the scans before someone spoils you this week? Right? Like, it's just,
God, fuck those times. Yeah.
Those times are every day.
But if you go with this scanslation group, they do really good color pages for the Naruto chapter covers. Oh man!
Like I guess the easiest way for me to like put a bow on it is like I have more fun reading volumes of manga than I do chapters.
I mean, it's funny because soon there's going to be a decision where if you're into One Piece, you can, it's like, do I watch my current or do I start the new one that's simultaneously going to be playing? It's so crazy because I'm like, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood had the decency to at least wait was it year before, after the other one finished before starting up or so? Like, this shit's like, nah, no time.
Nah, simultaneous.
2 pieces though. Okay, gotcha. Huh.
And so this cycles back to Warframe. It's like, hey, guess what I have in Warframe? I have 3 years of content that I didn't do. Because Warframe's, when you hit the wall on Warframe and you have run out of new content islands, God, that game becomes boring as shit when you're all caught up.
Yeah.
Oh, man, just boring as fuck.
I mean, I know that, like, whatever, if I had a more relevant connection, it would have come up. But I think the same part of me that, like, feels like the need to go after more newer experiences and play new games and all that, especially now given everything that comes in, versus replaying things, would not want that sort of stability you're describing is not an appeal, No.
Well, so here's the funniest thing. Back when FF14 started its new MMO journey, that stability was like, oh, what? I can count on content for my MMO actually coming out on time? Because the usual way of putting out releases was the whole game is in the expansion. There will be nothing until the next expansion, which is like a fucking dog shit way to do it, because you would burn out in like 4 months and be like, well, Time to quit.
Yeah, and the analogy of like keeping up with, you know, seasons of like say Strive or SF6 DLC or so, it's like, but in those games you don't really like catch up and be like, well, I've played all the new content, so now I'm done. You know, you don't really.
No, because it's just like I want to play Bison.
Yeah, you're gonna keep.
Bison got nerfed. I don't care.
Yeah. But if you do your taunt now, you can get a big buff going.
Who is ever gonna let you do that fucking taunt?
People having fun offline. People who anyone who lets Akuma eat those buns that wants to have a good time is going to let Bison taunt on you now.
No, I don't want to fucking have a good time. I want to grind ranked.
By the way, so for anyone who doesn't know, now if you put a bomb with Bison on your opponent and then you do his forward taunt, he counts down 3, 2, 1, and then the explosion happens at the end of the taunt, and now Bison can actually do his super Bison moves, like his crazy teleports.
Teleport. He's got his alpha.
Shadow Luism Psycho Crusher. Yeah. So it's great.